a little bit. I'm a little late to this party, but hopefully you'll forgive me. About a week ago was Earth Day. I believe it was last Monday, 22nd, I think is Earth Day. So anyway, so we had Earth Day recently, and people were spending time talking about like, oh, here are facts about the Earth. Let's watch the Planet Earth documentary. Hug a tree, what have you. But the real way to celebrate Earth Day, in my opinion, other than doing things that make the Earth more beautiful, like planting trees and things, is to advocate against capitalism. Well, that doesn't make any sense, does it? Well, it does actually. Earth is a planet with limited resources. Capitalism is an economic system that requires infinite growth. That says that every quarter, every year, there must be growth. There must be additional profit. More money must be made. And that money must be shoveled up to the top. In order for us to survive on this planet for a long period of time, we are going to need to do away with capitalism. Capitalism is not going to save the Earth because it's going to continue to ask the Earth to produce more and more resources when those resources are finite. Even renewable resources are being consumed at faster rates than they can be replenished. Take trees, for example. So in the beginning of the pandemic, we saw these huge, before the pandemic really set in, we saw these huge wildfires in Brazil, in the Amazon rainforest. And then, of course, there was lots of logging. There's always been lots of logging there and other things. But the problem is, the Amazon rainforest is being harvested and burned at a rate much faster than it can be replenished. Wood, trees are supposed to be a renewable resource. But in order for a tree to get as tall as we need it for the types of things that we use to build homes and for whatever other projects we have, it takes years, sometimes decades, maybe centuries, for a tree to get that tall. So even if we plant a tree today, it will take a very long time for that tree to come to maturity. And we're asking the forests for more and more resources. We're cutting more and more trees. And even if we are planting trees at 1, 2, or even 3 times the amount that we're taking, we are going to need that tree to be older faster, and we just don't have a way to do that. Eventually, we will run out of these resources, which is going to harm the Earth. Now, the Earth will recover. It's a natural ecosystem that will survive with or without us. What will not recover is us as humans, and leaving this planet is not going to save it. It's not going to save us, I should say, rather. The planet can do just fine without us, but in order for our Earth Day to be significant, for it to mean anything, we need to advocate for a fundamental restructuring of our economic system such that we are using our resources in an appropriate manner and making sure that we do not waste resources to the extent possible. 2, advocating for a fundamental reshuffling of how we obtain our energy in the world, moving away from fossil fuels and moving away to resources that are more or less actually renewable, like solar and wind, and even the tides. There's lots of hydropower that can be taken advantage of, although many of the places that can be dammed already are dammed. But you can use tidal. And you can create smaller hydroelectric plants that don't dam the water, but instead use moving water to turn smaller turbines to make smaller amounts of electricity for smaller communities. But unless we're advocating for fundamental restructuring of our economy and the way that we get our energy, we're not really advocating for the Earth. We're not really creating an Earth Day that's meaningful at all. At the end of the day, Earth will survive without us. If we would like to keep surviving on Earth, we have to change the way that we do business on this planet, which requires us to get rid of fossil fuels, to get rid of these energy sources that are taking away from the planet faster than it can replenish them, for us to limit our use of resources generally, and to abandon capitalism. So I hope you have a fun Earth Day. I hope you took the time to learn things about the Earth, to feel more at home on this Earth, and remember that there is no planet B. This is the only one we have, and we need to take care of it, if not for Earth's sake, because Earth will recover without us, but for our sake.